Good afternoon. You already know who it is. I'm on back in here. We got the intro music. Let's do it. You already know. What's good? What's good, everybody? What's good? We're gonna get into it. All right. Get everything together. Pull out the tarot card. Good, y'all. What's good? Soft fire. What's up? What's up? Peace, everybody. Peace, everybody. What's up? What's up? What's up? So we just shuffling up the tarot. We're getting ready. We're getting ready. I believe it's gonna rain today. What's up, Moon Spirit? What's up, Trust Self? What's good? What's good? Hopefully everybody been keeping up. Who's been keeping up with the videos? Who's been keeping up? Brianna, what's the song? This is Migos. Migos, Higher We Go. I have the song title in the description as well. But this is Migos, Higher Than We Go. You got that jump to it, don't it? Shout out to Atlanta. You know what I mean? They've been holding it down for a while. You get a workout to it. Switch up the speed. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. It's all about timing. It's all about timing and angles. Timing and angles. All right. But anyway, let's go. You already know. Sony stuff. Please turn it down. Alright, what's good, everybody? So, of course, you know, we do the general questions and answers. But before we get into that, we're going to pull a couple tarot cards, see what type of general advice the tarot has for the day. You know, to help everybody tap into their spirituality. All right. So the first card that came up the Six of Cups, pleasure, the sun going into Scorpio. So let's talk about it. So we know whenever we're referring to the energy of the sun, not necessarily in the natal chart, but just the energy of the sun. It's all about motivation. Let me keep this here. Motivation, inspiration, you know, transmuting energy, creating energy it's a ball of fire, essentially, right? So it's a ball of desire, a ball of fire. So we see the symbol of the sun. You see that there. So it's a concentrated flame. So you see the circle, then you see a dot in the middle of the circle. So you see a circle with a dot in the middle. So that means contained within this ball of fire or this ball of intention is a single point, a point of focus. And that point of focus is emitted through each of those 360 degrees within that cipher. So what is that middle point? In this particular case, that middle point, that focus is Scorpio. As you see the M, the sign of Scorpio right here. So we understand Scorpio is the sign of the mystic, the sign of the genie, the sign of sight beyond the physical plane, right? Going into the depths of the waters, the deep ocean waters, exploring the unknown. So when we combine these together, the sun has concentrated its flame, has concentrated its intentions around the energy of Scorpio, which is the energy of exploring, exploration of mysteries, essentially, right? Exploration of mysteries. And it is through the exploration of those memories that you find pleasure. So this is talking about pleasure found through uncovering the greater mysteries, right? Hidden within your own self. So we're not necessarily talking about the mysteries of the universe. We know we always have to start with self. It's the mysteries that we already have contained within us that we have no idea about. So gaining pleasure from the exploration of mysteries. Once again, the concentrated fire, ball of fire, is going into Scorpio. So we have fire and water working together. When fire and water work together, it creates vapor. When a man and woman come together and have sex, they start altering their breath. A lot of deep breathing is going on, so it creates an atmosphere, right? When two people come, when that fire and that water mix, they are creating vapors. So the vapors that are being created from the mixture of the fire and water creates pleasure, a pleasurable atmosphere. Creating an atmosphere around you that gives you pleasure, that helps you go into the greater mysteries. It may be images and paintings you have on the wall that always inspire you to stretch your imagination. It may be particular colors, it may be, things on your altar, whatever it is that allows you to go deeper into the mysteries, a constant reminder to seek greater mysteries, being a source of your pleasure. All right? So we're going to come in with that. Triple darkness pulled the Prince of Swords and the Princess of this. Well, what does that mean to you, triple darkness? What does that mean to you? So what I'm doing is I'm pretty much just shuffling, and whichever card falls out, I just take that as a message instead of just picking the individual card. So we're just going to let the cards come today. We're not going to be here too long. Again, we just want to offer some general advice. Not get too deep. We already went super deep earlier. So for those who tuned in to the video I did about 6 hours ago, it was about 6, 7 in the morning. So we right back in here for the afternoon. Again, we want to get as much information out. We want to show you as many techniques as possible, but we just want to show you how vast this is. Whatever form of divination you take, whatever gifts you have, whatever psychic abilities you were born with. There's various ways to exercise spirit. So we're just doing our best to show the various expressions of spirit to speak. All right. So again, feel free to ask any questions, but we're definitely just going to be giving general advice anyway throughout the video. So while I'm waiting for the next card, we can just talk about what's going on. We're in the second day of August here, I believe. We're in the second day of August, so we know this is the day of wisdom. This is the day, if it's not any other day that you tune in to wisdom, this is the day that you tune in to wisdom. But number 2 represents wisdom. Again, wisdom pretty much gives you that magic eye to see through appearances. You can see the core essence of all things. You can see into the core essence of all things, because all things are essentially the same one thing, which you can say is the atom. All things come from the atom. All things have their origins in the atom. If you understand the atom, you not only understand yourself, but you understand everything around you. It all comes from the atom. But smaller than the atom, we have subatomic particles, right? So we have things smaller than atoms. So the atom is just, it's the first sign of the physical reality. But once we get into subatomic particles, now we're getting into the realm of the unseen. And when we start to explore the realm of the unseen, or as they call it nowadays, the quantum world, once we understand quantum physics, which is particles can become waves, and waves can be particles, right? Because on the surface, particles have a certain nature, and waves have a certain nature. But on the quantum level, particles can be a wave or particle, so they can change form at their leisure based on whatever they need to navigate through. Whatever they're going through, they can take the shape of a particle or wave. So on a quantum level, things are continuously being expressed spontaneously, or of a spontaneous nature. Things are always appearing and disappearing at the same time. Everything has its own cycles. Some things live one day, other things live 100 years, right? So if we look at nature as a whole, there's various things with various cycles. Again, some things 100 years, some things 75, some things more than 100 years, some things just a couple months. I believe an ant, certain insects only have like 40 days to live. You know what I mean? Like the average lifespan of certain insects is only 40 days. So just imagine, you got 40 days to put that work in. You know what I mean? Just to put things into perspective. So the study of the unseen, the study of the unknown, reveals to you the secret that we are in a chaotic order. Reality is a orderly chaos. However you want to say it, chaotic order or orderly chaos. It seems that so much seems to be going on this third dimension, with politics, with relationships, with human beings. It seems like there's so much going on. Every day there's a story. It seems as if we exist in the realm of chaos. However, the chaos is always orderly. Right? The chaos is always orderly. But we can't see it with the physical eye. We have to go beyond the physical eye in order to see that order that appears, that gives the illusion of chaos. So you can say the chaos in a sense is an illusion that's being projected from the orderly law. The rules and regulations of the laws of the universe, right? Everything is subjected to the laws of the universe. Nothing is exceeding the laws of the universe. And the laws of the universe, if understood, if we understand that everything is subjected to the law, including the physical body, we're not necessarily talking about the soul, at least physically. If we want to talk about the material plane, everything is subjected to universal laws. Everything is subjected to the golden ratio. Everything is subjected to sacred geometry when we're talking about the physical plane. The physical plane is artistic. Everything that the Creator has laid their hands on is artistic. If we look at all things in nature, nature is very artistic. Anything that the Creator lays his hands on comes out artistic, right? All things are artistic because it has the signature of the Creator. That means it has a supreme intelligence, meaning it's not just random, meaning that the Creator is a very, very vast artist, somebody who has created mountains and trees and insects, is very, very vast in their imagination, right? Things, that we still haven't seen all things that exist, right? There's still things on this earth that we have never even discovered. There's still things about ourselves that we are not familiar with. So again, we're just going into the realm of the Scorpio, the mystic. You start to ponder on these greater mysteries beyond life and death. All right? And that's why we're going into the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Again, hopefully everybody is keeping up with the information because, this is definitely, one of the deepest aspects you could ever explore, because it's so much being said. All right. Let's see. August has not been kind to Coco. Well, we only in the second day of August, so your 2 days in August hasn't been great. Let me see. But, you know, that's why we're doing a general reading. You know, so we're just waiting for the next card to come up. Again, I'm being very precise. But as we continue, so if we understand that although there's chaos happening all around us, the chaos is always ordered, right? We are the silence within the hurricane. I've spoke about that before. We are the silence within the hurricane. So if there's any silence anywhere, it should be present within you. That's the position you play in life. The position we play in life is to be the silence. I'm not sure if people understand that. Listen close. The position we play in life, when you consider yourself awake, when you consider yourself an ascending being that's striving and struggling to release, you know, its soul, if you consider yourself of that nature, then the position you play is something that only you can understand. So, if we are the silence within the chaos, that means everything in your reality can be chaotic. But when you are the silent one, when there is silence present within you, when you become that middle point, just like the sun, you got the circle and the middle point. When you take the position of that middle point, you are the silence within the chaos. That's the position that you play. So even though everything is chaotic around you, it's you that has to stay still. And it's you that will start to understand the more I play my role, the more I play my position, then I start to realize that things have different results. Remember, what's the definition? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. We all have been subjected to our emotions. We all have been subjected to the chaos. But the one thing that we may not be familiar with is the silence. Let's actually not respond to the BS. Or let's not feel the way that we think we should feel because something may have happened, and that may be the talk of the day. There's nothing wrong when you choose to, like, I don't really want to engage in that talk. I'll speak to you, but I may not want to speak about that. You have the right to do that. You have the right to duck and dodge certain things, if, you know, and to readjust the atmosphere if you need to, you know, to make sure that you don't engage in a bunch of gossip and a bunch of things that don't bring nobody no good. So you may be the only thing that contains silence. Everybody around you can be people who just constantly have motion, but you are the silence within your reality. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. What's up, Jay Flower? Jay Flower is in here. All right. So again, you know, just offering general advice. Now, if we want to take things a step further, what's up, Red? Red is in the building. What's up? If we want to take things a step further, hold on, let me pause this. All right. If we want to take things a step further, like the whole purpose of doing things like this The whole purpose of even having a tarot deck, the whole purpose of knowing things like the Kabbalah, the whole thing of knowing the intelligence behind the numbers, the whole purpose of knowing the magical and the spiritual qualities behind the herbs, behind the crystals, behind the incense, all the resources of the earth, knowing the material and the spiritual quality of all of the resources of the earth. The whole purpose of even knowing that, right? The whole purpose of even knowing that is so that you can engage in higher mathematics. In other words, to give your brain a challenge, to keep your brain working, to keep your brain sharp, right? So you want to be engaging in things that stimulate your brain to keep all of your functions in tip-top shape. So this is why we go out here and we start to manipulate the matrix. You ask yourself, how much influence do I truly have over my reality? That means anything that I lay my eyes upon, I can potentially influence. How powerful am I really? You have to ask yourself these questions, and you have to be willing to engage in experiments in order to gain experience. You have to be willing to place yourself in situations to show and prove your ability to influence your reality. Like, your words really do matter. Your actions really do matter. Your thoughts really do matter. How you feel, how you are able to contain your emotions or express your emotions really do matter. All these things actually do matter, but we have to place ourselves in positions to understand that it's not necessarily going to come to you. Again, people are kind of waiting for things to come to them. People are more so on the defense. If something happened, I'm ready. But we don't necessarily go out there and like, okay, let me. If I claim to be all this and that, then I should be able to do things that are not possible, or things that are not thought to be possible. If I'm supposed to be like, let me step out of my ego, telling myself how great I am, and let me start doing great things, right? Let me get out of making myself feel good about, how big and bad I am, and let me engage in great works. Let me turn that greatness that I feel about myself into actual great works. How do you transfer the feelings into works? Once again, you have to love what you do. It's love. Remember, if y'all been following along with the Emerald Tablets of Thought, make love the beginning and end of your heart. If something does not start in love, it cannot end in love. All of the projects that you start must begin in love. Meaning you have to put your all into it. You have to be able to put your emotions into it, your thought into it, your desire into it, and be able to endure until it actually, until the seed blossoms. It's a process. You have to be patient, essentially. You have to have enough patience for the seed to blossom. That takes time. So during the time, you have to protect the seed. You have to preserve your thoughts, keep your thoughts concentrated. All right? So, we're just giving general advice. No doubt, loving by nature. All right? So that's what it is. That's what it is. We want to take all of this energy that we feel about ourselves. We feel good about ourselves. We feel good that we are awake. We're able to see through the illusions. We feel good about that. But now it's time to turn those things into great works. But in order to turn those thoughts into things, we understand that it is a mathematical process. In order for us to have an influence over matter, we have to be able to measure things. As I gave the example before, you need to be able to take bricks and create a home. How do I take these bricks and create a home, you need mathematics. You need to know how to measure things. Okay, I want the bedroom to be this big. I want the kitchen to be this big. I want this section over here. I want that section over there. You got to lay the foundation. You got to lay the plan. Okay, these measurements are over here. This is how long, the width, the length, and the height. Right? You do the measurements. Only after you do the measurements are you able to put those bricks into proper order so that they reflect your thoughts. Right? So again, we have a lot of people that have a lot of bricks, but they don't know how to build a home. They got the bricks, but they don't know how to build a home. Because again, this is definitely dealing with the number 4. Because if we break down the word mathematics, it's going to give you the number 4. And again, number 4 is Rahu, or it's a very, very slow vibration. It's the vibration of the earth. It's very, 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 very slow, but it's slow enough. It's like going in slow motion. It's in slow motion, but things are happening at a speed to where you can understand it. You can see the beginning of things. You can see how things start off as thoughts and become things because things start to move slower. Things are not moving at, rapid speed. You are watching everything happen in slow motion, so you can predict, you can make better predictions because you're observing things before they happen. You can see into the future at slow motion. So we slow down time to be able to see into the future. Because when you view things in slow motion, you are able to see things before they happen. It's a little different in real time. But if you were to slow down time, which we all have the ability to do, if you were able to slow down time, which we can, slow down time, you can see into the future because you are accelerating your mind. Time is essentially going at the same pace. We are accelerating our mind when we think about that. That's how you manipulate time. Either slow down or accelerate your mind. All right. So, again, we don't want to be on here too long. We're just giving general information. The general advice again for the month of August. It brings in a whole different energy. So you definitely want to familiarize yourself with, what's going on the spiritual level, what's going on beyond sight. So I'm definitely just sharing from my heart. You know what I mean? Like none of this was premeditated. Just sharing straight from the heart, straight from the soul, based on the things that I'm feeling from my position in life. All right. So again, we may draw 1 or 2 more cards before we get up out of here. So give me 1 second. Let me go grab something. I'll be right back. All right. Okay. All right. So before we get out of here, we're gonna draw 1 more card. So again, hopefully everybody's keeping up with the information. Hopefully everybody is tuning in. Hopefully everybody is definitely being the manipulators and the magicians of their reality by, showing forth their potential. It's one thing to think it. It's another thing to show forth the potential, to show forth with action. You know what I mean? Your divinity. You know what I mean? Not just thinking. We have to show forth. Not saying that you're better than nobody else, but being able to pass the culture along. That's the difference. We spoke more about that yesterday. So not getting into a mindset of how supreme you are, but your ability to pass the culture to the next generation. That reveals your true potential. Are you passing the culture along, or are you keeping it to yourself? Because if you keep it to yourself, it's like you being the only one rich. Or are you trying to create future millionaires Or are you just getting off at the fact that you the only one around you got money, and you just get off at the fact that, people want to be around you now, right? It's a difference. There's nothing wrong with having wealth, but how you handle that wealth, will be the ultimate judge, and how your legacy is left, beyond the physical plane. All right, so let's draw this last card and get up out of here. Here it is. Sorrow. The Three of Swords, sorrow. So now this is the energy of Saturn. Again, we're in the 8th month. The number 8 resonates with the energy of Saturn. So here's Saturn in the flesh. See, most people, when Saturn is manifested, for most people, it's manifested as a challenge. Because Saturn moves very slow. Everybody's moving so fast, and Saturn is telling you to slow down. And they're like, yo, why do I slow down? Why do I have to slow down? Why do I have to slow down? Now, in this particular position, so here we see the symbol of Saturn. That's the symbol of Saturn. And here we see that it's in a degree of Libra. So Saturn is telling the Libra, slow down, slow down, slow down. Remember, the Libra is mostly mental, right? The Libra is mostly mental. So Saturn telling Libra to slow down when Libra likes to move fast. It's a cardinal sign. So it's a energy that likes to move, an energy that doesn't like being still. The fixed signs like the Scorpios, the Taurus, and those type of signs like being, a little bit slower. But to a Libra, it's like slow down, because Saturn is essentially trying to reveal the message that, if you go into things too quickly and not fully think things through to the end, being able to think things through to the end, you're going to experience sorrow, because you went off of blind emotion. You went off of something that may have sounded good, or a thought that may have made sense to you at the moment, but it didn't have any longevity. Saturn is all about longevity. Saturn isn't about, okay, we're doing this at the moment, we're going off of these trends. Saturn is doing things for the long term. Saturn is all about the long term. So Saturn is saying, slow down. We want to do these things for the long term. Stop going off of these trends about what's hot right now. We want to engage in something that is long term. So in a degree or aspect of Libra, you can say Saturn is giving Libra the message that when it comes to communications, because Libra is all about communications, being able to communicate with partnerships, relationships, contracts. Libra is all about communications. So to slow down your communications, you can say this is like, yo, let's build up partnerships and friendships that are long term. Let's not necessarily engage in something right now, or we're just trying to get money out of something because it's the hot topic. Let us create partnerships and relationships and friendships. Let us create things that have something, that have the potential to endure the next 10, 20 years. Let's engage in something that has endurance, because we're going to go through the sorrow. The sorrow is absolutely necessary. We have to go through hardship. We are going to go through sorrow at some point. But if we're going through sorrow with things and friendships that are shallow, then it's going to break through. It's going to shatter our reality. You see the shattering of the rose. The rose is going to get shattered. However, when we engage in things for the long term, that shattering can also be the building blocks for a new reality, right? The shattering of the rose can be the seeds of the future generation. But that's thinking on the long term, right? So you see people who's thinking short term, they don't want that, Saturn is basically saying, let's get the long term money. Let's get the money on the back end instead of taking a large upfront money. We don't want the large upfront money. We want the long term money. We want the long money. We want the money that's going to last through the generations. We want the friendships. We want the partnerships. We want the connections that will last for 10, 20, 30, that has longevity. We're all about longevity. So there it is. So that's definitely the month of August, the number 8, Saturn All that energy is all about endurance, longevity, patience. These are definitely the attributes of Saturn, right? So, unless anybody has any questions, we're definitely going to get up out of here. That's today's information. You know, we're not going to make it too long. You know, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. And I'm going to be right back at y'all tomorrow. All right. Profoundly dignified says the skull is moving back and forth. Yeah, I'm sure it is moving. I'm sure it is. That's why I got it there. See, everybody, you think it's just there for decoration? Oh, of course, right? Yeah, it's just there for decoration. All right. So, here we go, right? Just to give y'all some insight. So this represents, this is the death card, the 13. Remember, we talked about the number 13, right? You see that that's the Scorpio energy, right? Because we were just talking about the Scorpio energy. Here it is. So even in death, you are crowned. Even in death, you are crowned. You contain, that's why you see this black skeleton. That's that carbon. Carbon has the ability, remember, from the carbon comes the coal, from the coal comes the diamonds, right? So carbon and diamonds are synonymous. Like everybody wants to wear the diamonds, right? Wants to be flashy. The diamonds. The diamond is the crystal skull. The diamond is being able to retain your memory even in death, right? We talked about that, you know, in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. But this is where the idea comes from, right? So it represents a beautiful dance. Metaphysically, what happens when you burn something, you transmute the energy. The energy goes from one form to another. It used to be whatever, then it turned into ash. So the energy ascended. So you are, you know, releasing energy essentially. When you burn things, it is releasing energy. So when people make offerings and they burn an offering, the offering is being burned, you know, so that it can go to the quantum world. It changes form. So the atoms, pretty much the atoms are now programmed with your intention, and now they're going all over, you know, all over the city or the state or whatever. So when you're burning things with an intention, it's sending the atoms far and vast to have an influence over whatever you need to influence. So that's what it means when you burn things. You're releasing the intention that was contained within that certain things, and you know, it's blossoming like the blossoming of a lotus. All right. So there you go. So again, unless anybody, I'm pretty sure everything is clear, you know. I like speaking very clearly about things. Try not to, you know, make things too complex or too profound. Just keep things in a place where you can understand it. So I'm gonna definitely be right back at y'all tomorrow. So definitely take care, everybody. Enjoy your month of August. Enjoy working with your energy. Definitely check out the website. Check out the links in the description. If you know you like the video, definitely thumbs up. I think I have one more question before we get out of here. How to you transmute your shadow self? Not sure if you made a video or talked about the subject already, the transmutation of the shadow self. That's basically, you know, what we're going through in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. It's essentially, you're taking this dark energy, the energy of ignorance. We all start out ignorant. We're taking this energy of ignorance and transmuting it into light, finding the light within the ignorance. So for example, you know, there's a lot of us who were born into situations where we didn't have access to a lot of resources, right? So therefore, we had to resort to alternative means to collecting the things that we needed for ourselves. Nonetheless, we had to seek the light in the darkness. So although we're surrounded by darkness, we may be surrounded in dangerous places and places that nobody wants to be. We may be surrounded in, you know, limited resources, but we still have to seek the light within the darkness. So transmuting your shadow self is, although we exist in a plane that's filled with ignorance, that's filled with hate, that's filled with, you know, people embracing in things that are completely destructive. We transmute the shadow self when we remain silent in the midst of the chaos. We play our position in the midst of the chaos. So that's what it means to transmute the shadow self. Because when the shadow self wants to materialize, you have to keep it under wraps. It's like walking a dog. You got to keep it on the leash. If you just let the dog off the leash and he goes harm somebody, then you're responsible for that. So we're just keeping the shadow self on the leash, not keeping it suppressed, but letting it express itself, but with intention. Being able to tame your own abilities, right? Being able to wield your own sorcery. You have to be able to wield your own power, right? So you got to learn how to wield your own sword, your own power. So that's what it is. Can I speak about incubus and succubus? I mean, it's nothing too complex. An incubus is a male vampire. A succubus is a female vampire. There's nothing too deep about it. So most of the time, people think about incubus and succubus as astral demons or whatever, right? These are demons that have sex with you, like lower deities, or let's not even call them deities, lower spirits that have sex with people. That's an incubus, and they drain the life force from the people, right? They're just lower spirits going around in the astral plane, absorbing life, going into people's dreams and shape-shifting and draining their energy. That's pretty much the definition of them for the most part. But in reality, are there beings going around doing that? They're only drawn to an energy that's being emitted. In other words, you can say this person was already going to sleep thinking about sexual thoughts, and they magnetize the incubus or the succubus to them to fulfill the contract. They have already wrote the contract and signed their name. So they're just fulfilling. Remember, every cause has an effect. So to think that these beings are just wandering around messing with random people, that's not it. It's most of the time that energy is being offered up. The intention you go to bed with is like you offering the energy. And that's what magnetizes you to certain atmospheres when you dream. So you wonder like, yo, how did I get in this type of atmosphere? This is all based on the energy you were projecting at the time of you exiting your body. That's what was going on in your mind. So that's what you magnetize to yourself, and that's what you drew yourself to. So they are just drawn off of energy that's being emitted. It may not even be on a conscious level. So people, I'm not saying that they just went to sleep thinking about, porno movies, or where they were just watching porn. That can happen, but it can also be on a subconscious level. They may just be feeling that way. They may not necessarily be consciously thinking about it, but they may just be feeling that way. And the energy is magnetized. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just is what it is. You put out that energy. You want it to be sexually satisfied, sexually fulfilled. They came in a dream. They fulfilled the contract. And as payment, as a cost, they just collected the energy, an even exchange. All right? For whatever reason, people just want to make things more crazier than it is. It's just an even exchange. All right? You want sexual satisfaction? This is what it costs. I just take my costs. I go on about my business. It's just business at the end. It's just business. If you understand business, then you can understand the spirit plane, right? All right. There we go. We can't ever let our shadow self fully free. There's never a time for that. Of course, there's a time for it. It's just not amongst the public. So yeah, you can be as free as you want to be, just not amongst the public. Because they're gonna whip out their phones and they're gonna call the police. You're gonna get a bunch of energy you're not looking for. So in your own space, you can fully release that energy, just under wraps when you are amongst people. But if you want to go out to the forest where you're the only one, you want to go out onto a forest, you want to see how it is to be a nymph. A lot of ladies want to be nymphs. You want to see how it is to be a nymph, to be able to walk around the forest butt naked. If that's what you want to do. You want to how would it be to walk around in the forest butt naked, and then kind of be sneak. People thought like, yo, I just saw a naked woman. Like, no, like it's in your imagination, just playing tricks on people. If you want to do that, then ain't nothing to stop you. You just know you got to be strategic. Because you are amongst people, so you can't really just do whatever you want to do, because people are gonna respond in certain ways. However, when you are amongst yourself, you do as you please. Let your imagination, let your imagination stretch as far as possible. All right. So I think I made the point clear. So that's just general advice for August. You know what I mean? I appreciate everybody giving the energy, asking the questions, and we'll be right back show tomorrow. Once again, salute. Y'all take care. Be well.